Hi there, it's Dr. E from Rockwood Natural Medicine Clinic, and 'tis the season for lots of things, including acute illness and fevers, right? Fevers, believe it or not, I actually consider our friend for a few reasons. So let's talk a little bit about what our body does, why it mounts a fever, and how it actually can be good for us. So instead of suppressing fevers, like a lot of people might believe is a good thing, we actually want to nourish the body and work with the fever and not necessarily suppress it. So some things, I understand that parents, it can be very concerning when your child is hot and lethargic and sick and clingy, and you want to make them feel better, of course. But actually using the anti-pyretics or the fever reducers can prolong the illness and make things worse for a longer period of time. And it can actually literally affect something in their brain called the hypothalamus, which is our thermostat, our temperature regulator. So the less we can use anti-pyretics that work against the body, the better. So some things I want you to breathe and be calm about, and just understand that if and when your child or you get a fever, there has never been any research proving that the fever itself, even as high as 105, 106, has actually caused brain damage. So that is a myth. Another thing is, even if the fever goes high, it's as long as the child is not lethargic, which they're going to be more lethargic when they're ill, but I mean completely lethargic, as long as they're not completely dehydrated, which you can test by doing the skin tenting, and if it stays up and doesn't go flat, more dehydrated, if they're not having wet diapers or using the restroom to urinate, that's a concern. You want to be sure to keep them hydrated with lots of fluid, especially water. There's some other things, not necessarily like Gatorade, but there's homemade electrolyte drinks, Pediasure, all sorts of options. So those are some concerns there. But another thing is the length of the fever. It's not unheard of for fevers to last 3-4 days, but please do seek professional care and find a physician that you trust. If the fever is staying very high and not undulating at all or coming down, or if your child or you have had a fever for 4 or more days, that can be concerning. Another thing to look for is if you or your child has extreme neck pain to where you may not even be able to do any flexion like this, that's also a concern and can be something called meningitis, which you definitely want to get ruled out. That can be very severe. So I'm telling you these things not to scare you, but those are worst case scenarios. There's so many other reasons that people get fevers that are really quite mild, and the body's just trying to work through that illness. Believe it or not, around 102 degrees is the ideal cooking temp. We want to cook those critters out of our system, those microbes. So if you're hovering around that range, it's not the end of the world. You're actually creating the ideal cooking environment. And there's lots more things we could talk about fevers, but lastly, I just wanted to show you one of the easy home thermometers that you can use, temporal, to measure a fever. Not necessarily as accurate as the mercury or other thermometers, but it's convenient, and when you are caring for a sick child or sick person, it's important to have convenience, right? So stay hydrated, stay smart, and let us know. There's lots of other things that we can do to work with a fever and help process it faster, more efficiently. Reach out to us at Rockwood Natural Medicine Clinic at 480-767-7119.